You know how it do. You know who I am. My name is Sherry Fati Bosch, and I've been electronically tortured for 13 to 14 years. Today is my birthday. Happy birthday. I'm 44 years old. This started when I was 29. You see how long it's gone on, man. But I just want to, in this time of reflection on my birthday, I just want to say to every target individual around the world again, you didn't deserve this. You don't deserve it. It's nothing funny. You, I mean, really and truly, you are imprisoned. You're tortured. You're imprisoned because your mind, you can be as free as you want to. But if your mind is not right and your mind is in prison, you can't control your own thoughts and your belief patterns and all that. You can barely move. You are in prison. If you're mad at any person or any person who has a mental disorder, how in prison they are. They can go anywhere they want to, but they're still in prison because their mind is in prison. I remember there's a woman who I knew who was schizophrenic, but I remember going to her apartment and how the TV was up blasting loud. When I talked to her, she was screaming. And also too is that her makeup was all over her face. And there was another nurse in there. She said this is schizophrenia at its worst. She said that people mask their schizophrenia as long as they can, but some things come out, and you can tell that she's hearing the noises badly because she's using this the TV to drown them out. You can notice she's hollering because you notice that's her worst because she's hollering. She's trying to think she's hollering over noise for the nurse to hear her. And also, too, her makeup was grossly inappropriate. It was like she was on a clown show. She didn't know really how to apply her makeup, and you know how you've seen person who basically is still living in the 70s and 80s who applies their makeup, and it looked just like a clown show. And at that point in time, we had to do because I realized that she wasn't taking her medicine and how terrible she was. But this is something. This is what I digress. So I digress. What first of all I want to say to you is that being made to be mentally ill is the worst thing than ever. I woke up this morning and I found myself being in fugue states more and more. Woke up this morning. And I was cutting my cake, and I noticed that I cut it up and wrap it up and put it in the freezer. But the last part was the icing. I wanted to sometimes I keep the icing because I might want to put it on another cake or I may just want to eat it separately. But I noticed that I didn't even know I started dropping. How I knew that I was in a fugue state is that I woke up, I was sleeping. I remember dropping off to sleep and waking up and realizing that I had dropped all this icing in my air fryer. When I was doing it, I had no conscious notion of what I was doing, even how I got there. But then afterwards, it's like I went to sleep and my eyes popped back open, and there were globs of icing in my air fryer. And it's not just happening once; it's happening more and more. I noticed that today my mom would call me, and I was on the phone with her, and she was just doing the spiel, happy birthday, blah 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 blah. And I said, uh-huh. And at one point in time, I put the phone down. And I remember drifting off to sleep. And I think I don't know if she was still on the phone or whatever. And she said, Sherry, I don't know. I don't know if I hung up on her or what. And then all of a sudden, I put the phone back in. And she said, I think she's like, what's going on? I think at that point in time, I knew that there was something happening that I wasn't aware of. And it's happening more and more. And I wanted to ask any other torture victim or any other electronic tortured victim, have you noticed that about yourself? Have you noticed that this year I noticed that more and more I'm in a few steps. It's like I'm walking, but I'm not conscious that I'm there, or I've been found myself doing something and I'm not conscious that I'm there. It's like I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a voyeur. It seems like I'm just doing it, and truly not aware that I'm there until I go to sleep and I wake back up and I remember vague things like cutting, cutting up something, but I don't remember the whole process of how I got there. To me, it's getting that's frightening to me. But the most of all, what I want to say is that first of all every electronic torture victim, you are valid. You are not to be used as any pun or jest or just because the government can't get its shit right. And also to just because the government can't get their lies right because of all the lab rats they use. But I digress. You are not a minstrel show. You are not funny. This is not funny, and it is total pain. And I acknowledge that you are in pain. You are mentally, physically, and emotionally in pain. And until somebody can walk in your shoes or any politician can walk in your shoes, then they can't describe that pain and tell you or devalue it or tell you how to get through it. Let me tell you something, and I want to say this to you, and I'm going to say it clearly. And it broke my heart when I learned this. I'm going to have to tell you, not trying to break your heart, I want to open your mind, is that Democrats and Republicans are just two fangs on the same snake. Okay? They're just two fangs on the same snake. There's a fang of a Democrat, there's a fang of a uh, Republican. They are just two different fangs. They're just two fangs. Different fangs. They're just different fangs on the same snake. And when I realized that, it was sad because you feel like that you have all this hope that you voted the right way to initiate a person who would change, who would stop electronic torture, and they would one time validate that this is happening to us, and if we can stop it, and all. But then you realize is that the people you voted for are liars as well, and they are just another fang on the same snake. And they're not there to acknowledge their wrongdoings. They're there to be implicit. I want to say they're there to be part of the masquerade, but a masquerade and pretending like the people have power, or they want to pretend like, oh well, the people don't want this to happen. I think that there are so many people. I have learned that there are so many people out there in America who are afraid of electronic torture, who are afraid to speak up, who are sick and tired of watching me, sick and tired of knowing that there are other people that are like me. They're available. They're ready to go to war. I am telling you specifically, all to talk. No, people cannot look upon the face of evil and keep watching and not become part evil themselves. Violence does not violence. Like I say, violence begat violence. Once you watching a violent act, it becomes interred in your soul, or no, interred or printed on. Sometimes printed on your eyeballs. And what happens is that either you do one thing, you react to that violence with violence, you internalize that violence and say, oh, I don't want that to be me. Let me change my life. Or that's just you bank that for later reference. But in part, when you see a violent act and you're upset, it angers you. You become enraged, and if you continue to see that violence, that rage must go somewhere. When you're not addressed, that rage is not addressed, or that that vault of rage is not. It comes out in wrong areas. People killing each other, people fighting, people shooting each other, people doing all these different things because they become enraged and cannot sit and hear bullshit any longer. I will say this to you, electronic torture brothers and sisters, that what I have learned in this path is that America is a masquerade. America is a lie, and its people and its citizens are its victims. That your government is not out to ultimately help you, but ultimately to kill you, to keep you blind, to be a culprit, and to also have a shackle around your neck. And if you do not comply, If you shake the boiling waters too much, if you ask too many questions, then you become a liability. And in that liability, you're outcast, you're shunned, you're tortured, you're abused, you come a list of these, and you become part of their propaganda project, where lies are told about you, they spear hate about you, they laugh behind your back. Because let me tell you something, and I learned this way: when people are laughing at you at your greatest, it's because they know you're telling the truth. Have you ever saw somebody you told the truth, the blunt truth to someone, and they laughed or smirked and try to be bad or talk about you or go off on you because they knew you were right, but they can distract you and belittle you with their anger, their laughter. I know that they're going off on you to sidetrack the truth. And the truth is the truth, honey. It ain't gonna change because you get mad. Because you get mad or you go off or you try to laugh it off or whatever. The truth is solidified and it will stand on its own. So I will tell you again this, and I would say to you is that brothers and sisters, no matter who is trying to belittle you, no matter who is trying to laugh at you, no matter if you go off and tell your family that you're trying to torture your friends or whatever, and they laugh it off and all that different stuff, be like laugh. You know, I understand is that people laugh when they're afraid. People are laugh. People will resort to humor in a couple different ways. If you're telling them the truth, they'll try to laugh it off. If they're in fear, they try to laugh it off. Yeah, if they're in fear, if they're angry, sometimes they try to laugh it off. They use they use humor in inappropriate ways or inappropriate times, and to distract away from the actual truth or just to belittle it altogether. But you are nothing to be belittled. I don't care if it's your local press secretary, amen. I don't care if it's the president himself. I don't care if it's the vice president who will tell you that none of this exists. You and I know it's the truth, what the truth is. In every eyeball, in every tongue, on every palate, in every ear, you exist. I exist. And that anger ain't going away. That pool of anger ain't going away. It's going to get worse until you are no longer you're no longer going to be able to stand. That's why violence is increasing. Assault is increasing. All these different things because the government has solidified a true government and saying we will not allow this, we will not allow that. You go over to Ukraine, you go over to Russia and tell them, oh, we're going to protect those people. We're going to protect the Ukrainians and all. But yet you don't protect your own citizens on your own soil. You make them lab rats and guinea pigs. You laugh off your injustices towards them, or you belittle them. So how is the U.S. any better than Russia? It makes a mockery of its citizens, especially as people of color, women, those who are disabled, elderly. Immigrants, any list of those ultimate minorities. It belittles, downgrades, try to kill anyone who doesn't have an offense. It pulverizes. So how is Russia any different from the U.S.? I think you should think about that. But lastly, I want to say this ultimately, brothers and sisters, you do not deserve to be electronically tortured. If I have to beat it over your head, just because they pretend like they want to sweep you on the rug, pretend like you don't exist, you exist. You don't deserve this, and you don't deserve this mockery that they have made of your life. You deserve better. Every U.S. citizen deserves better. Because when we fall, I'm telling you, when one electronic torture person falls, another one is picked up in the U.S. When I fall, just like when I fall because of this, they're going to pick somebody else and do the same thing to them. Because first of all, nobody is saying it's wrong. The U.S. is sweeping everything under the rug and pretend like it doesn't exist. But the bottom line exists, and it may be the downfall of the U.S. So again, like I said, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Those who go when God has it's the lab rat. It's time to revolt. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. Those who come against is gonna be done up because it's time. It's time. It's the last year I live like this. It's time for the awakening. It's time for the lab rat resolution. The lab rat revolt. Take care.